What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another Transformers rules roundup to be having a look at. Now, I know I've been doing a lot more key forward videos on the channel lately. Very simply, it's because that's where the news has been. We are fast approaching spoiler season for War for Cybertron Siege 2, the 4th expansion of the Transformers trading card game, and when that happens, oh lordy, there will be a lot of Transformers videos. When we were spoiling War for Cybertron Siege 1, I had a bunch of people telling me, Wossy, when are we going to get more Keyforge videos? And I was telling them, look, this is where the news is. So, rules roundup then. Let's start off having a little bit of a look at Brave and Stealth. And very simply, what happens if you have both? They cancel each other out. Simple as that. Brave says that enemies must attack this character if they're able to, i.e. if there are tapped characters and an untapped character with Brave, you still have to go over the tapped characters. And Stealthiness says you cannot attack this unless it is the only viable option. If a character has both Brave and Stealth at the same time, there we go. They essentially have nothing. Now, it wouldn't be a rules roundup without a question about Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. When does it actually work? So, Optimus Prime has an ability whereby after you finish flipping for your attack, you may play an action. And the answer is, you do all of your flipping, including bold. If you flip a white pip, think rapid conversion, you flip another 2 cards. And then you use a card. So Pep Talk, for instance, you flip all of your cards. Once you are completely done flipping, including bold, including a white icon if you hit one, then you draw 2 cards. Doesn't matter which one you choose to play, the pip counts. So if you do choose to use Pep Talk and you flipped 4 blue in total, then you still have 4 blue. You don't use Pep Talk and lose one of them. So Sergeant Chromia came around in Wave 3. People have been asking about the alt mode ability. When you flip to this mode, you may play a blue armor. Cool. So how does that work in terms of playing your regular armor? And the answer is, it is an extra one. So if you've already gone and played an armor plating, for instance, on your turn, and then you flip Sergeant Chromia, you can still play a blue armor. Similarly, if you flip Sergeant Chromia and play armored plating with it, you still have your armor available for the turn. Can you use this to put superior plating on? No. And the reason is it says play, not attach. Superior plating reads, play this only if you've played a tech research. So essentially what would happen is, Sergeant Chromia, you flip it to Altman and go, I'm going to play a superior plating. And then you go, oh, I haven't played tech research, I can't. Now compare that to something like Hunker Down, for instance, which reads, flip each of your characters from bot mode to tank mode. Then for each of your tanks that isn't upgraded with an armor, put an armor on it from the scrap pile. That does let you play superior plating because you're not actually playing it, you're putting it on. It stops you playing it if you haven't played tech research. It doesn't stop you attaching it. So let's say you've got sturdy armor on a Soundwave. Soundwave isn't terribly important here. Sturdy armor can only be put onto specialists. Soundwave is a specialist. While the upgraded character is defending against a ranged enemy, you get +1 defense. Okay, seems fairly straightforward, and it is. But what happens if you're attacking with Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend? You flip for attacking, and you flip a rollout. You choose to use rollout to flip into alt mode. Now all of a sudden you were a ranged character, but you are now a melee character. You do not get the extra defense from sturdy armor. And the reason is, sturdy armor is constantly checking to see if there's a ranged character right up until damage is dealt, but you end up with Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend as a melee character before the defense flips and hence before damage is calculated. I still function. It's very, very good. It returns a character from your KO area to the field. So what happens if you've got a tapped character that has already attacked and then it gets KO'd, and then you play I Still Function, does it come back tapped or untapped? And the answer is I Still Function always brings things back untapped. There we go. And the reason very simply is in the KO area you are neither tapped or untapped, and then you are played untapped. Okay, so let's say you've got Crushing Treads. Crushing Treads is one of these Wave 1 cards. It is an upgrade utility only to be put on tanks, and they have Pierce equal to their defense. Then let's say you pop a Laser Cutlass onto the same character. You can only put it on characters that have 7 stars or fewer, and it gives them Pierce free. So we're looking for a tank with 7 stars or fewer. Let's just go Slammer here. 3-star tank, pretty sure that counts. Alrighty then. So if we have a look at Slammer, Slammer has a natural attack of 3 and is in fact a 4-star character. Sorry, that was really silly. There are no 3-star characters. Okay, so now you've got an attack of 3, and then Crushing Treads gives you Pierce equal to your defense, which in this chance would be 3. And then Laser Cutlass gives you Pierce 3 plus 1 attack, so you end up with an attack of 4 and a Pierce of 6. Nice. Pierce stacks on Pierce, but remember, Pierce cannot be higher than your attack when calculating, i.e., if you've got an attack of 4 and a Pierce of 6, you don't do 6, you do 4, we ignore any Pierce that is higher than your attack. So we still need to talk about Optimus Prime, but let's talk about the Wave 2 Gleaming Commander. And you attack Private Lionizer. You KO it. And then let's say, because Optimus Prime has a lovely ability, whereby if you attack and flip at least a white, an orange and a blue, you may flip a character in your KO area to its other mode. And let's say we choose Prowl, Strategic Mastermind. When this is in your KO area and you flip to this mode, scrap an enemy weapon. Now the question actually asked on the roundup was, can I do this flipping over my opponent's Prowl to get rid of their upgrade? Now it wouldn't be Private Lionizer, because Private Lionizer isn't actually the upgrade here. It gets KO'd and it turns into RS Fire Steel Saber. Cool. Well, unfortunately for you, RS Fire Steel Saber is safe. Now, the question on the rules roundup talked about flipping your opponent's Prowl. That wouldn't work. But even if it did, Prowl scraps an enemy weapon, which would be one of your weapons, which would be too confusing. But essentially, Optimus Prime's ability triggers before the damage is dealt. So, yes, you get to flip Prowl if it's in your KO area, and yes, you get to scrap an enemy weapon, but RS Fire Steel Saber is not on your opponent's side of the board when that happens. Unconventional Flying Object, the only card we have which helps out spaceships. Flip one of your spaceships to bot mode, then flip it back to alt mode. Well, if you've already got one in bot mode, can you just flip it to alt mode? And the answer is no, you can't. And the reason very simply is, if you're in bot mode, you ain't a spaceship. But also, you have to flip spaceship to bot, then back to alt. That is what it says, that is what it does. Now, we already knew that Quartermaster could not be used to recover Sergeant Cog, because Sergeant Cog is a weaponizer, not a Battlemaster. We've talked about that before. But what intrigues me is somebody asked this on the rules roundup, and asked if there would ever be a way for us to use it again, and the answer was, not currently. Which seems to me like a little bit of a hint that in the not too distant future, we are going to be getting a way that we can reuse Sergeant Cog. Maybe we'll get more weaponizers, and when we have more weaponizers, we'll get something like Quartermaster, but for them. So we talked before about Anticipation Engine and an Enigma. That is, you use Anticipation Engine, and it is a weapon, and when you attack, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an action, you may play it. And if it is an Enigma, you form up. Nice and simply. So the questions are, if my opponent's characters are all tapped, can I then attack with my combiner, Volcanicus in this example? Yes, of course you can. all of their characters attacked, you attack, and then during the attack, you form up into Volcanion. Volcanicus is untapped. Therefore, Volcanicus can attack. You get to attack with all of your characters if your opponents are all tapped. Nice. So what happens if there is a bolster? Now, bolster ends up on these rules roundups quite a lot. It is a secret action. It is revealed on your opponent's turn when one of your characters defends and you may play an armor. And then you play multi-mission gear, which allows you to play an action. And then you play Dinobot Enigma. Who's actually being attacked? And the answer is, they are attacking your combiner. If they're attacking Grimlock, Grimlock's no longer there, but Grimlock is now part of Volcanicus, so for that reason they would now be attacking Volcanicus. Does Start Your Engines allow you to flip over cars in your KO area? Nope. We talked about this before. You cannot affect any cards in your KO area unless a card specifically refers to the fact that you can. So look at something like Combat Commands. It specifically reads, when the upgraded character attacks, you may flip a Sentinel in your KO area from bot mode to alt mode and back to bot mode. If it does not specifically refer to the KO area, you cannot play it and affect a character in the KO area. Cool. What if your opponent is trying to do non-attack damage? Let's say with a card like Frag Grenade, one where you have the choice of which character actually takes the damage. Can you choose a character that cannot take the damage? I say Frag Grenade, I mean Frag Toss, you know what I mean. Yes. It's one of the reasons I love Captain Ironhide so much. Your opponent plays a Frag Toss and goes, ha ha ha, now you have to choose one of your characters and take a damage, and you go, fine, I'll choose Captain Ironhide. In your face! He can't take non-attack damage. You've just wasted a card. Although, do be nice, ladies and gentlemen. Do be nice. And finally, Spare Parts. Spare Parts is a very nice upgrade. It is a utility, and it says that if an opponent's card would cause a weapon or armor to be scrapped, you scrap Spare Parts instead. So what if they use a card like Disarm? Now, this is relevant because Disarm doesn't scrap a weapon or an armor. It returns it to the owner's hand. Well, Spare Parts does nothing. Spare Parts jumps in and saves you if the card would be discarded, but Disarm doesn't discard the card. Disarm returns it to your hand, so it does nothing. There we go, ladies. By which I mean Spare Parts does nothing, Disarm totally does. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of lovely new rules. Hopefully I answered all your questions, but if I didn't, chuck them down in the comment section and I'm sure myself or someone else will get to them quickly. And then if I might be so bold as to request that you like this video and comment on all the rules, subscribe to this channel maybe, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy would be quite nice. And then if you want to check out the Patreon, it is patreon.com/PTCGradio. It's a good place to do it. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross and you've been watching Wossy Plays.